Part 26. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 251. Chapter 251. Both the granddaughter and grandma are allergic to cats. The red spots on the back of his hands became more and more obvious, and Ye Wei became more and more frightened. As soon as he shouted, tears burst out of his eyes. "Brother, my hands are itchy." She couldn't help but scratch it, and Yezikin held her two wrists apart. "You're allergic. Hurry," and took Ye Wei to the nearest pharmacy, confirmed that it was an allergy and bought the corresponding ointment. Fortunately, the contact was not too deep. Ye Wei just touched the cat a little bit, so the allergy was not serious. Growing up, because Yejia didn't keep pets, she usually lived in a very simple place, and generally wouldn't touch small furry animals. "Now I know that I am allergic to cats." Ye Wei cried and swore, "I will never dare to touch a cat again." The ointment feels cool and refreshing when applied to the hands, finally relieving some of the itching. Yezikin repeatedly warned, "No scratching allowed." Ye Wei felt even more aggrieved. She pursed her lips and shed tears. "Brother, will my hands have scars? Wouldn't they become very ugly?" Yezikin hummed, "Just scratch it and try it, and you'll know what it means to leave a scar." "I won't arrest you, I promise I won't arrest you." Ye Wei nodded hurriedly with her cheeks puffed up, and there were obviously tears in the corners of her eyes. This was her first allergic reaction and she was frightened. She quietly looked at her allergic erythema hand held by Yezikin. She endured it for a while and then asked, "Brother, what should I do if I really have scars on my hand?" "Little fool," the nickname with a sigh, is like a breeze blowing on the face, blowing away all the uneasiness in the heart. Luxury sweet. Pei Yuchen came back from abroad and was going to tell Mrs. Jiao about the strange things that happened today. After knocking on the door and going in, I found that Mrs. Jiao was applying medicine to her hands. As Mrs. Jiao's assistant, Pei Yuchen had a serious expression. "Madam, what's wrong with you?" "It's okay, I'm allergic." "Allergy? When did it happen?" Because Pei Yuchen was with Mrs. Jiao almost the whole time today, and she was only separated when she went to the restaurant to eat. Mrs. Jiao slowly put away the ointment and explained the reason. "I just went downstairs for a walk and accidentally bumped into another guest's cat." She had known that she was allergic to cat hair, but the contact just now was indeed an accident, but it was not serious. Pei Yuchen breathed a sigh of relief. "Madam, you should be more careful, sir, you will be worried." Mrs. Jiao smiled and treated him as kindly as her own child. "Yuchen, you are becoming more and more considerate. Do you have any intention of staying in China this time?" Pei Yuchen replied sincerely, "Sir is kind to me, and I will not leave him." "I know you are interested, but you were born in country Z. Now that you are 25 years old, you should consider starting a family." "Ma'am, please pay more attention to me. My husband has appointed me to accompany you back to the country, so of course I will help you with your affairs wholeheartedly." Mrs. Jiao knew it was useless to persuade him, so she stopped mentioning it. "I'll talk to him later." "Okay." Pei Yuchen organized the necessary things. Mrs. Jiao mentioned it again. "I can't wait to see Mo again. Please help me make arrangements." "Okay." Mrs. Jiao was about to contact her husband who was far abroad when she received a letter from her husband first. Mrs. Jiao's face became solemn after listening to a few words. "Something happened over there, sir. We must rush back as soon as possible. You said you don't want grandma to recognize Li Moer." End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 252. Chapter 252. Fragile Yezikin. Yezikin went to see Gujinsi the next day. "Yezikin, I remind you to pay attention. Recently someone is investigating the matter of the adopted daughter of the Ye family." "Who?" A young man came forward, but the investigation was not in depth. "I know, I will pay attention. Guchensi didn't care about Yewei, but Yezikin made a serious deal with Guchensi before going to G-City. Guchensi will help him pay close attention to things around Yewei in the past 3 years. Of course, Yezikin will also pay corresponding rewards. Young man comes to check the identity of Yes' adopted daughter. It's hard to guess the identity. Yezikin followed this matter and asked someone to investigate. The man was not found, but he learned first about the good deeds that Madame Ye took Limour to do. The adopted daughter of the Ye family rarely shows up, and people outside don't even know that she is an adopted daughter and not her biological child. Coupled with Yezikin's careful protection, not even the photos were allowed to wander outside. Even though everyone in the school knows her, no one knows that someone is looking for an adopted daughter from the Ye family. So Mrs. Ye used her connections to let Limour take over Ye Weiwei's identity and change her name to Yemour, which went very smoothly. The first news Yezikin received was this. After knowing what Limour had become, Yezikin went back to Yejia's villa. Yezikin's sudden return made Madame Ye very happy, and she prepared a sumptuous dinner reception. Chenur, why didn't you say hello when you came back? Let mom know so you can prepare early. Thanks. You kid, you are so polite to your mother. Mrs. Ye said a few words and then asked about business. What are you doing when you come back today? It's a school entrepreneurship competition, and we need to conduct field trips to collect some data. Entrepreneurship, not bad, mom supports you. Since it is a competition, you must strive for success. If you need any help, just tell me. You must not relax at this stage, even if you have to suffer more, you must persevere. You are the only son of the Ye family, and you cannot be compared with others even in school. You have to bring glory to the Ye family. Facing such a mother, he really had nothing to say. Some people are sending messages in the QQ group, and it is Suche from the team who is complaining. Oh my gosh, if it weren't for this project, I really wouldn't want to go home. My mother would nag me repeatedly every time, asking me if I ate well at school. Did I dress well? She also said that I had lost weight. She says the same thing every time, and I feel tired even if she says she's not tired. Listening to the voice, Yezikin threw the phone on the bed. The photo album placed next to the bed is the only photo of him and Ye. Yezikin suddenly opened the drawer and pulled out a heavy photo album. His white fingers with strong bones started to flip through the first page of the photo album. From childhood to now, there seemed to be only 2 people in his photo album. There are very few single photos of him, and there are more single photos of him at night. There are many group photos, but the protagonists are him and Ye Weiwei. He kept turning the pages, and when he was about to reach the end, his fingers finally stopped on the photo album. Clean nails scraped lightly. That was the only photo of the 4 of us together. In my memory, it seems that when Ye Weiwei first came to Ye's house, he took a family photo together. Dong dong dong. A sudden knock on the door broke the silence and pulled him out of his memories. Yezikin opened the door and saw Limour, wearing pajamas, standing stiffly at the door. Brother Chen, can you talk to me? Brother Chen is feeling miserable, give him a hug. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 253. Chapter 253 I am your sister. Brother Chen, it's rare for you to come home once, and I want to talk to you, Limour said shyly. Yezikin's eyes fell on Limour's pajamas. Silk fabric, pink. Not because he paid attention to Limour, but because everything Limour used at home was so similar to Yeyi. You don't need to guess to know that it is the credit of his mother, Mrs. Ye. Brother Chen, what's wrong with me? Why are you looking at me like this? Limor lowered his head as if shy and looked at his arms and body. Limor Yezikin suddenly called her name in a low voice. Limor's heartbeat accelerated uncontrollably. "Brother Chen, tell me." Yezikin raised his eyes, with a smile in his tone. "Yemor." The sound that sounded like the tapping of a jade spiritual weapon was crisp and gentle as a spring breeze, especially the slight smile on the corner of the mouth. Completely captured Limor's heart. "Brother Chen, do you know that I changed my name? In fact, you also recognize me as your sister, right?" Limor looked at him infatuatedly, eager to know if she could replace Ye Weiwei's name, and also her position in Yezikin's heart. "Ah!" With a disdainful chuckle, the original gentle tone suddenly turned into a sharp sarcasm. "Is it interesting to try to steal other people's lives?" Limor was so frightened that he staggered back. "Brother Chen, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you mean." Limor pursed her lips and seemed to be about to squeeze out tears from her eyes. It is indeed easy to arouse a man's affection by pretending to be aggrieved and crying. What a pity, she is Limor. And what she faced was Yezikin. Yezikin raised his eyebrows, and the sarcastic arc of his thin lips was cold to the bones. "Don't worry, you can take it from the adopted daughter of the Ye family if you want. Not only will he not obstruct it, he can also deliberately let it go, or even take the initiative to help. Because he didn't want Ye Weiwei to still be his sister when she grew up. For Yezikin, it doesn't matter who is the adopted daughter of the Ye family. Not just anyone with that title can get Yezikin's special attention. Also, I advise you not to appear in front of me in the future. Otherwise, it's all a disgrace to yourself." The contempt and disgust in his eyes were so obvious. Limor can see clearly. She didn't understand why things turned out like this. Even if Yezikin hates someone, he rarely shows it. But now he is not stingy about showing his disgust towards her. Why? In what way am I inferior to Ye Wei? I am prettier than her, and I have received better training and abilities than her. When she is your sister, she can only rely on you, but when I become your sister, there is another Li family who can help you." Limor cried with tears and was very emotional. In comparison, Yezikin is particularly calm. He told Limor, "Don't compare with her." He said ruthlessly, "You are not qualified." Humph, Limor ran back to the room sadly. Hold up his tears, his eyes full of dissatisfaction. She looked left and right, and finally rushed to the dressing table and found a small pink paper roll from the dressing box. Limor held it tightly in his hand. "Ye Weiwei, just wait and see, if I don't get what you want, don't even think about it." Mrs. Ye has so high expectations for Yezikin. She hated Ye Wei's biological mother so much before. If she now knows that Ye Wei still wants to ruin Yezikin, that would look great. Thanks to Kunjin for the reward. Do you remember what the little pink paper roll is? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 254. Chapter 254, Tsundere feels happy for a while, chasing his wife at the crematorium. Grade 1 or 2 of high school. I heard that your hands are allergic. This medicine is good. Here it is. When Suyuchan passed by Ye Wei's desk, he took out a tube of white ointment and placed it on her desk. Ye Wei was startled for a moment. She lifted the ointment and handed it back. "I have the medicine, thank you." Suyuchan's expression darkened inexplicably. "I don't need it. It's useless for you to return it to me. Just throw it away if you don't need it." Suyuchan put down these words and returned to his seat. He was the first to notice the rash on Ye Wei's hand. As the squad leader, people around her would ask questions out of curiosity. At that time, Suyuchan learned that she was allergic to cat hair. Even though he knew Ye Wei had bought the medicine himself, he still couldn't help but look up the information and ran to the drugstore to buy more. The elusive Lu Biang pressed his elbow on Su Yuchen's shoulder with a smirk on his face. Brother, you said you didn't like the squad leader, don't you feel bad now? Su Yuchen raised his arm and waved the person away with the book. In a cold voice, he warned, don't talk nonsense. Lu Biang leaned back and put his long legs directly on the table. Come on, brother Su, do you know what the most popular sentence is now? The tsundere feels happy for a while, chasing his wife in the crematorium in order to match the atmosphere. Lu Biang pretended to be serious and sighed deeply, alas. Su Yi didn't respond to him, but the hand holding the pen trembled inexplicably. And the other side? Ye Ziwei was holding the ointment, neither returning it nor throwing it away. She put the ointment on the edge of the table, opened the cup and drank water to calm down her shock. Yuan Ran poked the ointment with a pen and said shockingly, is he chasing you? Cough cough cough. Ye Weiwei quickly covered her mouth to prevent her from coughing out the water that had just entered her mouth. Ye Weiwei quickly collected the ointment and stuffed it under the table, and told her seriously, Ran, don't talk nonsense. Oh, Yuan Ran replied calmly, and then added abruptly, then he must be interested in you. Su Yuchen is always indifferent to other girls, but yet is the only one who is special. With such obvious differential treatment, anyone who sees it will think too much. Weekend. In order to make up for Gongkin Li, Ye Weiwei went to BJ Roast Duck restaurant to queue up to buy roast duck to apologize. She saw Shen Nianan diligently packing the roast duck, or delivering ingredients to people eating roast duck in the store, but she did not take the initiative to find Shen Nianan to join the team. When Shen Nianan came out, he saw Ye Weiwei and opened the back door for her. Shen Nianan said cheerfully, if you want to buy something, just come to me. The queue is too long. Thank you. Ye Ziwei thanked him and paid. She found that Shen Nianan's mental state did not look good, so she couldn't help but be more concerned. What's wrong with you? Your face looks a little ugly. I feel a little uncomfortable, but it's okay. Shen Nianan shook his head indifferently and started serving the guests again. Ye Weiwei was worried and advised her to go and have a look. Shen Nianan refused. I've only been here for 2 weeks, and I rely on my connections to work part-time on weekends. It would be embarrassing if I asked for leave. For the money from his part-time job, Shen Nianan refused to leave no matter what, and persisted until get off work. When Ye Weiwei called again to care about her the next day, she was speechless. Don't go to work sick. I can't ask for leave, otherwise I will be fired. She finally found a part-time job that only required weekend work through her connections and was unwilling to give up. Ye was the only one who couldn't resist her, and finally said, I'll help you go to work today. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 255. Chapter 255. Primary school classmate, male. Ye Weiwei helped the sick Shen Nianan to work and stayed at the roast duck restaurant to change into work clothes. If someone asks you to ask, you must say that you are over 16 and that you are working here to help your family. The aunt who introduced her to a part-time job repeatedly warned her. Ye Weiwei nodded vigorously, while the scholar packed the roast duck and delivered the things. In fact, they are all very simple tasks that do not require technical skills, but it is still tiring to do this all the time without taking a break. Gongkin Li found her and watched Ye Weiwei serving tea and cleaning the table. At that time, the feeling in her heart. Only, you are really doing something. Ye Weiwei raised the wrapping paper in his hand and winked mischievously, well, otherwise, I've already agreed to it. Gongkin Li, who was protecting the calf, couldn't understand, so she almost grabbed her ear and lectured her, do you think you are just looking for trouble? She can just ask for leave when she is sick. Do you need to work so hard for her? No, although Anan usually likes to stay alone and read, she is actually a very considerate person. Last time I was sick and stayed up late doing things, she would help me. A person's sincerity is not reflected on the surface, but is reflected in the details. Shen Nianan's help to her may have been insignificant, but she kept it in mind. Now is the time to repay, and she will not be stingy. I feel really sorry for the only cutie in my family. It doesn't matter, just a day or two. There were a lot of people on weekend nights, and the two of them didn't even say a word before they were constantly noisy by the guests. Waiter, hurry up, we don't have any sauce here. The waiter will bring you some tea. Ye Wei has never done any of these things before. Although it won't cause any problems, sometimes mistakes can happen when people shout at her. Gong Qinli snatched the kettle from Ye Wei's hand and said, I'll deliver this to you. No, Li Yulai, you can go play next to it. How can that work? You can be a friend, and I can be a friend. Although Gong Qinli is a wealthy lady, she is truly loyal to her friends. Friendship is that simple. Ye was the only one who couldn't resist her, and carefully asked Gong Qinli to put on the apron. You are wearing white today. Put this on quickly so it doesn't get dirty. It's clean. Two people work together to get twice the result with half the effort. Coming out of the book city, Meng Ziyi passed by the roast duck restaurant and his eyes were caught. Because he saw Gong Qinli with a high ponytail wearing an apron with the BJ Roast Duck logo in a roast duck restaurant, serving tea and water. Men stepped into the door of the roast duck restaurant without hesitation. Hey, please give me some space. Gong Qinli was holding a teapot in her hand and inadvertently caught Meng Ziyi's gaze. Hey, a classmate from elementary school. Why are you here? Meng Ziyi looked at Gong Qinli's dress and behavior in confusion. He knew that Gong Qinli's family was well off, and he was curious as to why she, a wealthy lady, would be willing to work in a place like this. Gong Qinli shrugged and told him calmly, my friend is sick, and I'm here to help. Brown eyes stared at her, and a soft smile appeared on Meng Ziyi's face. You are always so kind. Gong Qinli has inadvertently established a great image by being enthusiastic, helpful, and not complaining even when doing these chores. Meng Ziyi was surprised to realize a more special and excellent side of her. Gong Qinli patted her chest. It's important for people to show some brotherhood in the world. Last time I said that I would like to treat my elementary school classmates to dinner. It would be better to choose a different day after you and your friends have finished your work here. Shall I treat you to dinner? Okay. To take a prevention needle, Li Yulai's emotional road is really a bit curved, you can never guess. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 256. Chapter 256 Dissolution of Engagement. Lu Li, brother Nangong said he's coming back for New Year's Day. Ye Wei, who was wearing work clothes, walked up to Gong Qinli and held up his mobile phone. Huh, Meng Ziyi. Ye Wei raised his eyes and saw a well-mannered senior student wearing ascetic gold-rimmed glasses standing opposite. Ye Wei looked around curiously, what are you doing? Gong Qinli put her hand on Ye Yuyi's shoulder and said in a loud voice, Yuyi, my elementary school classmate invited me to dinner. I'll go there after get off work. At this time, Gong Qinli heard a familiar male voice coming from the mobile phone held next to her, eating? Who wants to treat me to dinner? Gong Qinli's eyes widened, Nangong Luo. Yeah, brother Nangong calls you. If no one answers your phone, then call me, and then ask us what gifts we want, so help us. Before Ye Wei could finish telling the story, Gong Qinli had already snatched the cell phone from her hand. She turned around and walked out with her mobile phone, and excitedly told Nangong Luo the gift she wanted. Yes, 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 I want that red night outfit, I just got a new one, go to the physical store and buy it for me. Is it a limited edition? What if I arrive late and fail to buy it? Gong Qinli threatened fiercely, if you can't buy it, don't come back to see me. Nangong Luo deliberately teased her for fun, you are so fierce. If I were scared, I would waste my time and everything would be gone. Gong Qinli raised her fist at the phone and endured it again and again. Finally, she pinched her throat and deliberately softened her voice, oh, brother Luo is so powerful. I know there is nothing you can't handle. As you command, Princess Li Yulai. Two drama queens. Nangong Luo, who is far away from abroad, is currently standing in Gongqin Li's favorite night clothing brand store. Hang up the phone. He pointed at the new products hanging in the window, with a smile on his lips, wrap that red one for me. He has known Gongqin Li for many years, how could he not understand Gongqin Li's hobbies? When Gongqin Li returned after making the phone call, Ye Weiwei was standing in front of the windowsill packing, while Ye Men's had already found a place to sit down. Meng Ziyi said to ask her, will you still come here to help tomorrow? Gongqin Li was stunned for a moment and replied casually, I think so. Meng Ziyi pushed up his glasses and said, I understand. His tone is gentle, not at all as difficult to get in touch with as usual at school. At the end of the day's work, I feel a little tired at night. Gongqin Li looked at it for a while and felt distressed, don't come here again tomorrow. You are so tired today. If Brother Chen sees it, I will have to scold you. It doesn't matter, it's just one day and An will come to work by herself tomorrow. According to what you said, you don't have to come tomorrow. That's right, Ye Weiwei smiled, held Gongqin Li's face in his hands and blew a kiss, my Princess Li Yulai has worked really hard today. It was a tiring day on Saturday, and during the weekend, both of them stayed at home to catch up on their sleep. When Shen Nianan went to work, she heard her aunt praise her two friends so much, and she was immediately moved. Qiao Li is really a kind girl. Meng Ziyi arrived very early and walked around the store without seeing Gongqin Li. He stopped a waiter casually and asked, is the girl named Gongqin Li still here today? The waiter looked up, but it was Shen Nianan. Meng Ziyi suddenly frowned, why is it you? Shen Nianan's face was expressionless, Meng Ziyi, should I ask you this question? Meng Ziyi dismissed it and said, you don't have to worry about my affairs. I will terminate our engagement sooner or later. Meng Ziyi was a classmate of Gongqin Li's primary school and liked Gongqin Li, but he and Shen Nianan were childhood sweethearts and even had a baby wedding. Thanks to the little cutie who provided the name and plot. If you have any characters among the Kaibao you want to include in the article, you can write them down. End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 257. Chapter 257 He's not coming back. Meng Ziyi, I don't want to discuss these things with you. Shen Nianan turned around and picked up the teapot. Gongqin Li, did you help me yesterday? Meng Ziyi stretched out his hand to stop her. Shen Nianan frowned, obviously unhappy, and asked, how do you know Gongqin Li? Meng Ziyi withdrew his hand coldly, this matter has nothing to do with you. Shen Nianan narrowed his eyes and sighed deeply, no matter what you do, don't involve my friend. Meng Ziyi made sure that Gongqin Li was not there and turned around to leave. Actually, the Shen family and Meng Ziyi were originally from scholarly families. They had a very good relationship with each other during their grandparents' generation, and they had arranged to get married when they were young. Shen Nianan is 1 year older than Meng Ziyi. Her elders always told her to take good care of her younger brother, who they also said was her future husband. Shen Nianan has been taking great care of Meng Ziyi since he was a child, adhering to the responsibility of sister and little fiancé, and also, excessive control. As she grew older, Meng Ziyi regarded her as a sister, but she remembered the joking words of her elders and gradually developed a love for Meng Ziyi between men and women. The Shen family declined, but the Meng family was still a scholarly family. But Grandpa Meng Ziyi was an old-fashioned man and never regretted what he promised to his friends. He forced Meng Ziyi to take care of Shen Nianan and kept instilling the idea of getting engaged and getting married. Meng Ziyi also tried to like Shen Nianan, but Shen Nianan became more and more addicted to books and became more and more boring. At that time, he also met his elementary school classmate Gong Qinli again. One was boring and the other was enthusiastic and generous. They both appeared at the same time. Of course, it was Gong Qinli who left a bright color in his memory. Meng Ziyi confirmed that he could not like Shen Nianan, so he asked Shen Nianan to tell his grandfather to terminate the engagement. Shen Nianan refused, and the Shen family refused. The relationship between the two collapsed. Meng Ziyi's feelings for Shen Nianan gradually turned from gratitude to impatience and disgust. But actually Meng Ziyi didn't know that Shen Nianan's growing obsession with books was not just her hobby. She hopes to use this to change her destiny, return the Shen family to its previous situation, fulfill the last wish of her elders, and at the same time have an identity that matches Meng Ziyi. However, there is another idiom in the world called wishful thinking. Shen Nianan returned to the dormitory at night. Still couldn't help but pull Ye Wei aside and ask, "Have you and Gong Qinli met Meng Ziyi?" "I've seen it, I just saw it yesterday, what's wrong?" Just out of curiosity, Meng Ziyi came to the store today to ask Gong Qinli. "Oh, I just found out that the two of them are classmates in elementary school, and they had dinner together yesterday." Ye Wei, who had no idea about the relationship between Shen Nianan and Meng Ziyi, told everything truthfully. But these words were like a sharp sword thrust into Shen Nianan's heart. Meng Ziyi is not the kind of enthusiastic person, so why is he so concerned about a primary school classmate? "You are saying that the relationship between Meng Ziyi and Gong Qinli is not bad." Before he could finish the last word, Ye Wei's cell phone rang. She gestured to Shen Nianan, "Wait a minute, I'll answer the phone." "Hey, brother Chen." Ye Wei answered the phone happily, and the next second, a smile froze on his face. Because Ye Zikan said, "Xiao Ling Dang, I won't be back on New Year's Day." Just when she was about to ask about the reason, Su Tangzi's voice came from over there, "Ye Zikan, come here quickly, I'm waiting for you." Ye Zikan responded and coaxed her softly on the phone, "Be good, I'll send you a gift when the time comes. If you have something else to do, hang up first." Hang up the phone, Ye Yuyi's heart beats violently. Do you think the Iron Four will be able to get together on New Year's Day? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 258. Chapter 258 is not the first time. I don't want any gifts, Ye Zikan is a bad guy, a big idiot. Let's play with your Su Tangzi. Ye only vented to the communication record that had been hung up, but the person on the other side couldn't hear her. Why did Ye Zikan hang up the phone when another woman called her? Not coming back for New Year's Day? With Su Tangzi? Hang up on her? No one is the only one that Ye can accept calmly. Don't give me a reason. If Ye Zikan explained the reason to her properly, she would still understand. But what now? Ye Zikan has Su Tangzi standing next to him all the time. Ye Wei couldn't help but call Gong Qinli and cry, "I know Su Tangzi has a good figure, a good family background, and good abilities. I can also play games with him. But I'm working hard too, my academic performance is improving, and I can also play games with him. Why doesn't he wait for me to grow up?" Gong Qinli was so frightened that she had no time to understand the situation, so she could only try to calm her down. "You must have misunderstood. What Brother Chen cares about most is you. No misunderstanding, this is not the first time at all. I have called him many times and I can always hear Su Tangzi's voice. Thinking about the lonely man and the widow getting along with each other every day, but they are still together at this late night. How could you not think more about it? Only, if you have any doubts, just tell Brother Chen what you are thinking. I wanted to talk to him, but he didn't have time to listen and hung up on me. I didn't even say anything before hanging up on me. Then confront Brother Chen. They are far apart, how can they confront each other face to face? I felt better after confiding in Gongkin Li. But Ye Yi was still unhappy overall, and this mood lasted until the next day. Lu Biang stood beside Su Yuchen and said, "Brother Su, I think the squad leader is in a bad mood today." Su Yuchen glanced at him and suddenly took out a piece of colored paper from under the table. "Give this to her." "What is this?" The two made eye contact, but Lu Biang failed. Lu Biang suddenly rushed to Ye Wei and patted her on the table. "Squad leader, look at this." Lu Biang slapped the paper that had been printed in color on her desk. When Ye Wei unfolded it, the 4 words "Singer Contest" in artistic font were very conspicuous. Lu Biang said, "There is a singing competition in the city on New Year's Day. Last time, monitor, you led our class to take first place. Such a good singing voice cannot be wasted. Go and participate in this." Ye Wei shook his head expressionlessly. "I won't go." Lu Biang spread his hands to Su Yuchen. When he received Su Yuchen's meaningful look, he turned around and continued to persuade, "Go to the monitor, you can get the first class according to your ability. You will be a celebrity in our school by then. What a blessing, have a face." Ye Wei had an idea, grabbed Lu Biang's clothes and said, "I'll go." Lu Biang turned around and gave Su Yuchen an okay gesture. Ye Wei signed up and deliberately spread the good news to the 4 of them. "Gongkin Li is always the first to jump out. Yi, you are awesome, I support you. I will hold roses to support you when the time comes." Nangong Luo then expressed his support. "My only sister, if you win the first prize, I will give you a double gift." The only news that Ye wanted to wait for the most has not yet come. From noon to evening when he sent the message, Yezikin did not reply once. When you are dissatisfied with Brother Chen, it's time for Brother Chen to your heart on Chinese Valentine's Day, ha ha ha. No one can guess what Brother Chen is doing. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lu Kixi. Chapter 259. Chapter 259, Going to Find Him, but Another Misunderstanding. Ye Wei searched for air tickets to G-City on the internet, and kept hesitating. Finally, she sent a message to Gongkin Li. "Li Yulai, what are you going to do on New Year's Day?" Gongkin Li replied instantly, "I went to play with Nangong Luo 2 days ago, and I went to cheer you on the next day." Ye Wei deleted the screenshot of the flight ticket he was about to send. If she begs Gongkin Li, then Gongkin Li will most likely agree to accompany her to G-City. But she can't be so selfish. Gongkin Li, who still didn't know Ye Wei's inner plan, also encouraged her. "New Year's Day is on Monday, and the holiday happens to start on Friday afternoon, so you can prepare well in the first 2 days." Ye Wei did not agree directly. On the holiday day on Friday, she took a taxi to the airport alone and got on a plane to G-City. In this city with developed transportation, it was very simple for her to find the University of Finance where Yezikin was studying. Even the driver in the taxi was a bit nagging. "Little sister, you look like you are not a college student. School is on holiday. What are you doing at school?" "Looking for my brother." The driver sighed. "Your brother is really awesome. I heard that all the students in that school are talented people." "Of course, my brother is super awesome." When Yezikin praised Yezikin, Ye Wei felt particularly enthusiastic. "My brother has been awesome since he was a child. He is handsome, has good grades, and can do everything." "Little girl, how can anyone be as perfect as you say?" "It's true, my brother is that awesome." One person actually got into an argument with each other. The taxi stopped outside the university, and Ye Wei waved goodbye to the driver's uncle. Ye Wei, who is 1.6 meters tall, will no longer be regarded as a primary school student even if she wears soft girl clothes. The campus is very large, and you can take the school bus not far from the school gate. Although Ye Wei has never been here, she knows very well where Yezikin usually goes, because she mentioned it in previous chats. Ye Wei followed the signs and asked for directions from time to time. She found Yezikin's dormitory. She sent a message to Yezikin, not to tell him that she was coming, but to inquire about Yezikin's whereabouts. In the academic lecture hall, make some materials. Ye Wei lowered his head to look at the map, not wanting to bump his arm into the oncoming person. Ah! Yes, only mobile phone fell to the ground, and the pile of paper that the other person was holding was also scattered on the ground. Sorry. Excuse me. The two of them apologized at the same time. Ye Wei picked up the phone and hurriedly helped others pick up their things. That boy is Yezikin's teammate Suche. Suche saw that he bumped into a little girl and smiled heartily. Thank you, sister. Ye Wei responded with a kind smile and nodded. Suche carried the stack of papers and walked to the academic lecture hall. Ye Wei checked the map to determine the direction of the academic lecture hall and headed there. Suche glanced back and found that the little girl was following behind, so he couldn't help but speed up. Suche thought in his heart, could it be that something is going on? Ye Wei followed him to the academic lecture hall and saw Suche disappearing after entering. She stood outside the window and looked inside, and at first sight she found the person she missed so much. He is always so dazzling. Ye Wei was lying by the window with a sweet smile on his face. He was about to go in when he suddenly saw Su Tangzi walking up to Yezikin and handing him a pink water glass. Yezikin took the opportunity, opened the bottle cap and took a sip. The interaction between the two seemed to have been rehearsed many times. Ye Wei bit her lower lip hard, turned and left. The plot of bumping into Suche is also a foreshadowing. Can anyone guess the reason for the water glass now? End of this chapter. My green plums are super sweet. Author, Lukixi. Chapter 260. Chapter 260, Drinking Until My Stomach Hurts. Suche went in holding the stack of papers. When I first came here, I met a little girl, and she was always following me. He is carrying a shell bag and looks quite cute. Suche put down his things, stood there and looked around, and called to the sidelines, "Come and see if anyone else is following you." The person next to him gave him a push and said with a smile, "Suche, you are overthinking it. Where is the little girl? You are talking like she is in the second dimension." Yezikin, who was writing with his head down, interrupted the topic in a cold voice, "Where did you see it?" "It's the school. I saw her behind me when I entered the academic lecture hall." After Suche finished speaking, there was no one on Yezikin's stool. Yezikin ran around the academic lecture hall and found no clues. Suche saw the pink water cup placed next to Yezikin and quickly replaced it with the white one in his hand. After doing all this, Yezikin just returned to his seat. Suche naughtily pushed the white water cup in front of him. "Brother Chen, I'll pay you for the water cup." The thing is like this. Suche accidentally broke Yezikin's water glass in the dormitory, so he paid for it with the new water glass he just bought. Although Suche is a man, he actually likes the color pink. He felt very guilty, so he took his own pink water cup and hurried to the supermarket to buy a simple white one. Ye only mistakenly thought that the pink cup belonged to Su Tangzi. No one knows, it's just such a coincidence. Bah, bang, bang. Su Tangzi stood at the front and slapped her hands 3 times, and everyone present stopped what they were doing. Su Tangzi faced everyone with a smile on her face, her beautiful eyes sparkling. "Our new business plan has been approved. We will meet with the investors tonight. I wish us immediate success." "Good. Oh yeah. This time, Yezikin, Su Tangzi, Suche and another girl went to meet with investors. Yezikin and Su Tangzi are mainly responsible for this project. Suche drinks a lot, and the other girl is good at socializing. Although they are still students, as adults, drinking is indispensable at parties, and it is indispensable to talk about things. At the banquet, everyone was smiling, but in fact, they had to consider every word they said. Yezikin has no problem handling this kind of banquet, but the wine must be consumed one glass at a time. There was a smile on his face, but his lips were getting whiter. After sending away the investors, Yezikin squinted his eyes and leaned back in his chair, resisting the pain in his body that was like peeling off a cocoon. Su Tangzi scolded him slightly displeasedly, "You look ugly. You shouldn't show off if you don't drink." "Heh, it's finally settled, isn't it?" He softly opened his eyes. Dark eyes are like silent pools of water, unfathomable. Su Tangzi held her forehead with one hand and couldn't understand. Everyone attaches great importance to this matter, but you take it more seriously than us. I don't understand that even if you don't start your own business now, Yejia's industry is enough for you to gain a foothold. With a flash of divine light, Yezikin looked calm, and the words coming out of his thin lips were so firm, "But what I want is not a place. Before Ye Wei grows up, he must use his own efforts to create a fortune and return it to the Chiao family." Su Tangzi took a deep breath and said, "I have to sign the contract tomorrow. I hope you can be on time." Yezikin nodded and stood up, "I would like you to handle the follow-up matters after signing the contract. I want to leave." "Where are you going?" Yezikin's eyes suddenly turned cold. "I don't need to report my whereabouts to you, right? How can you doubt Brother Chen's feelings for Xiao Lingdang and even say that you want to torture Brother Chen?" End of this chapter.